Well, good afternoon or good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Cyrus Gray, and today we are running a special edition of Election Central, and we have today as our guest our preeminent scholar, political thinker, philanthropist, social worker, in the Fresh of Monrovia, Dr. Togba Nah Tipoteh. Sorry for holding you up too long. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much. Good weekend.
Yeah, we're gonna be having a wide range of discussions, principally around issues about Liberia, prospects for the future, current circumstances, and a little bit about the past. I had told you that so that we don't take up too much time, we're not going to dwell too much on the profiling of who you are and all that.
Many people say talk about political side, but I'm an economist.
Yeah, correct.
A professional. That's
So,
the only thing I have to say.
yeah, so I'll do a quick synopsis on Dr. Tipoteh. Is an economist, trained as an economist. He has worked with most of the major global financial public related institutions, World Bank. In your resume, I see that you are a Harvard scholar from Nebraska University. How do you explain that?
Well, what happened is that I was financing my doctoral dissertation by United Nations, Harvard University fellowship also. So I tell people something from my time, I'm a CIA fellow. And it says CIA, Center International.
Yeah.
And of course, it's the thing of Central Intelligence Agency, but the Center for International Affairs at Harvard University, and they provided funding. Then I went to University of Nebraska to teach.
Oh, okay.
Needed to make some money to get my older sister into the United States of America to go to school. And so while teaching there, I worked in contracting. Unfortunately, I grew up with a background, nothing too small for me to do. I was
27
I'm
years.
now 82 years ago.
Wow, good. And let's talk a little bit about your experience. You work in government. You work, manage social civic pressure group. So when I was in college in the mid 80s, you and others, your contemporaries, were people whose views we followed about reforms for Liberia. I was in government in 1984. So we've just witnessed 5 years of the coup, mostly arriving from new fervent of political freedom, economic freedom, of the larger population of people that you and many others champion. So we'll talk a little bit about that time and then prospect of the future.
Very well.
But what I wanted to start with, around the same time, 1986, an official of the central bank at the time, or the national bank, was invited to a forum. We had a continent called we call some social scientists forum, where we invite an eminent person to speak on issues that were important at the time. And the issue that was important at the time was the introduction of the impact of the 7 corners. I know you were now planning minister then, but can you give us a background of what led to the government for the first time mandating such a currency in such volume with $5 coins?
Well, you are quite correct. I was not the minister planning with this. So I had nothing to do with the decision making that led to that. But to answer your question, I would say that the government having established a record of being money driven, led by people with money, saw an opportunity of getting more money into their hands. And so on that basis, they decided to print money because from their point of view, it was more cost effective. They they didn't have to pay that much money as they would have to pay if they were going to get notes.
Mhm.
So that's basically why.
Okay. Well,
But
let's
it certainly wasn't done to alleviate poverty.
a good economic, well, not a
Was
good
not-
economic policy necessary.
Because, from the 1950s, in Liberia, we established a duality, one on the theoretical side. On the practical, on the theoretical side, this concept of growth without development, because we had in Liberia the second highest economic growth per capita in the world, but less than 1% of the population accounted for more than 60% of the income of the wealth. So few percent getting most of the income of the wealth. And so today we have a situation where about 96, 97% of the population remain poor, having access to $300 billion a day
Today,
as we speak, while the members of the legislature, the first branch of government, have access to $150,000 a day, and their friends in the private sector have access to $300 million a day. So that's how the situation is in the world.
that's an astounding disparity now. Okay, so let's go back. You were one of the founders of Moja.
Yes, I'm
Justice in
I'm
Africa.
the founding leader of Justice in Africa.
And then there was also a civic group called Susu.
Yeah, what happened is that I happen to provide leadership, and still do, to put into motion what we talk about. So when we talk about justice, the more important thing was to attend to the poverty problem, where most people had less than 5 acres of land into. Some will say subsistence farming, but I would say subsistence.
Even below.
Because they didn't have enough to eat. Subsistence, we just have enough to eat. And so we then decided to provide solution. To providing leadership to solve problems. And so the main problem, poverty generation, to provide leadership to get into poverty alleviation. And so this why we then formed Susu. And the organizations that provided leadership in forming it. Once you hear the name, that will also help to educate you as to what we do. Susu is providing financial resources to place at the disposal of the poor. Susu.
Mhm.
Now, in the rest of West Africa, it's called Jesus.
It's a common phenomenon.
Yeah, and cool. Now, KU is the Liberian side of it. It's human resources. Have a cool community farm, but it allows you to keep your individual farm. So cool. So the Susuku. Once you say Susuku, then people had an idea, because it's important at every step of the way to help people to know what you're talking about, what you're doing, and to say you walk your talk. Because the problem is that people talk a lot, but don't walk the talk. And maybe we'll get into details.
So Susuku was coined out of those two concepts. The Susu, which is people putting money together to empower one person over time.
Precisely.
And then the pool, where people come together to create a critical mass of workers on each individual farm.
Very well. Exactly. So we're putting financial and human resources together to uplift society.
Create value at the larger.
Exactly. And you got a good word there, value addition. Because now, as before, the powers that be operate on they don't look at human beings as the most important value. They look at them and say we're resource short, they think about money. But the most important value is the most important resource is the human resource. Because here I am sitting now, people say, if I have a bad record, then they're bad in the sense that I'm into selfish, minded, and you, Mr. Gray, you have a good record. I am not going to make any decision that will improve your situation. Yeah, because I'm money driven. So this is why the human resource is the most important resource. If that is recognized, then of course you can begin to do certain things. But what happens when you are driven by financial resource, natural resource, especially financial resource, as the powers that you continue, the state continues to be driven, then of course you into poverty generation, you exacerbate the problem rather than minimize
solutions, right? Good. One of the things I wanted to ask, why we stay out there, I mean, the Susuku, the Moja concepts were started in the 70s.
In the 70s, yeah, and we started Susuku in 1971. And the background of that is, because I grew up in a poor bank. Then when I went to the United States of America, yeah, then from moving back and forth, developed some posture to write, to research into what came out of the dissertation is negative income taxation and whatever the implication for poverty elimination. You see that we did some work with the anti-poverty advisor to the president of the United States, Daniel Patrick Moynihan, who later became senator from New York, and they had a program called Office of Economic Opportunity, and there were only 3 research pieces for negative income taxation at the time, and so I was encouraged to do my dissertation, and basically. What did we come up with is that we went to families of dependent children, and so there's men and women in 25 states in the United States of America. When negative income taxation, under the Nixon administration, when the expression made, lift yourself off your own bootstraps, but people said, well, if you give me some assistance, but it does not lift me out of poverty, then I will work. But if you give me some assistance and I'm lifted out of poverty, then I don't need to work. Yeah. So this is basically, and then write a commonsensical conclusion. That's what the decision came about.
So that means the assistance should not be sufficient to lift you out of poverty.
Yeah.
It should enable you to lift yourself.
So when I came back home, then of course there was this theological following up, and we coming from a poor background in Liberia, went to the United States, studying and research in poverty, coming back to the extension of the posture of wanting to provide a solution to poverty problems. So we then set up Susuku first, and then Moja was later on, because you can't go to people and say, well, all right, we have justice. So the people are starving, suffering. So let's attend to that problem first. And we kept it quietly in 1971. And it was only in 1976 that President Togba declared the war on poverty, ignorance, and disease. Because when he declared, we're just providing information is a way to motivate the powers that
you started that war already.
Yeah. So, so when he announced that, then we said, well, yes, we're here now in consonance with the government policy. See? So this also was a technique to survive.
What are some of the, if you may, what are some of the tangible impacts that Susuku had in terms of projects and stuff that involved the people?
Well, tangible. I'll give a few. One is that the powers that be didn't like this because they wanted to give the impression that people need to depend on government to get them. So we went in the southeastern part of Liberia, Grand Chile, but the poorest part of Liberia, still the poorest part of Liberia, and we went there to do some work and raise consciousness. But the main work is to raise the consciousness of the people so that you don't do their work, but they help themselves, to help them help themselves. So we went there, and so the first thing is that the powers that be spread word that the president was coming to visit. But the president was in Germany at the time. So we then put the radio on, raise awareness to people, and they got their men to go and do street work, to work on the roads, to prepare the way for the president coming. But the president was in Germany. So what happened? The women then, given the contract, said, we'll take over the work of the president, the men, so that the farm will continue. And this is not by accident, it was due to the consciousness risk. So then, when the government found this out, they put the Hutu Development Corporation, which is a corporation that we have to set up, Hutu Development Corporation, where you have one young male, one young female board, and young one elderly, not elderly. Then the chairperson of the council, chief, completely elected, but very sensible, became the board chair, and the executive director was the speaker of the University Cairo.
It's in Grand Chile, in the Putumayo area.
Yeah, right. So that people who know that they have possibilities for doing things to help themselves. They didn't have to wait. There were no schools, no clinics there, and so forth. But the laws were coming. So they put the people who in court. In court. Now you mentioned the chief, but this is the first time in history of the country that the people,
ordinary people,
won the government in court. So they judged the court, they came overwhelmed. And what he said, well, I look at the people, this court is one in the people's court, so if I will die here, then let me die, but the people are going to see. And what happened is that the financing of this court case was done by two people living in Monrovia and abroad. They provided money to get lawyers to push the case.
What was the case?
Yeah, the case was that the land is the property, but the Codeco was illegal. That and then of course that the men were pushing the property. They should be working on the road. Why because the president is coming, and so they want to keep them far. So they were put in court. They were doing something against the authority of the superintendent. So the superintendent, who happened to be Superintendent Beck, John Beck at the time, put them in court. You see, and so we provided leadership not to say come to cutlasses and guns and so to go shoot the way. No, awareness. And it's the same thing that continues today. So Susuku is working now with trying.
So Susuku stays
We're working on climate change for the generation fuel. For instance, from the rubber plantation in Mamba, the garbage from rubber garbage, pump the drainages. So it got flooded in the area, and 7 persons have already died. Plus, one of the houses got captured. So, under the leadership of Reverend University Marshall, who is a community leader in Spanish States, SNT, and the community there. So, down working to provide some financial resources and clear the villages and so forth, and they're trying to get back to the farming work there. So now they want to set up computer school, some laptops, from the week to get some laptops. They'll be able to get some information from them. Then the other part is that the place called Polar Connect in Bracket, my county. Polar Connect, Bracket, my county. Elephants, elephants destroying the houses, taking people from the farm. Why are the elephants coming to town? Because the powers that be are into deforestation. When the right thing to do is reforestation, there's a delicate ratio between what your logs you cut down and what you replant. But the powers that be are not into that ratio.
I thought there was some more.
For the last 5 years. But so much now that the elephants do not have a cover. They were not coming to town because they had a cover. They were in the forest.
Have a tiger.
Yeah, but they don't have a cover now, so they come to town. And they're breaking the houses down, we're now trying to get lawyers, but this is not an easy situation.
Yeah, but hey, thanks for that answer. Let's go to advocacy, and then we'll come out to contemporary times. And I want us to end a little bit on the current disposition of the country and the future in the wake of the elections that are going on right now. Right? My experience dealing with most of the youthful population that now have a strong political fervor, thanks to some of the work that you've done.
Between the ages of 85 and 35, we have 60% of the voting age population. Between the ages of 18, I'm just butchering.
18 and
35. I'm butchering the fundamental.
Yes, and what I'm noticing is that even amongst those in the higher echelon in terms of exposure and education, there is limited knowledge about Liberia and its history. I don't know if it's because of the interregnum of the war or the teaching system.
You know why there's this lack of knowledge? It's part of the systemic approach of the powers that be to control people. That's why in Liberian schools, as we speak, you have a history book that says the former slaves came back here to Christianize the people. Now I mentioned the name of Cyrus Gray, it's a history book. But thanks to someone whom you know, who was Cotton, Professor Dr. One who has passed away. He then, one is a name for Mamba. Exactly. You know what? The man has come. And what did he come from? You see, our parents know how to name us. So I said, well, where this baby looks, he's come to do something very important. So what did he come to do? To teach us about ourselves. So he's written a book about this land called Liberia, what it was before. You see, and now I'm working with Bishop Kula, the Reverend Dr. Arthur Kula, and on the book called Banana Leaf, my story. And in that book, soon to be published, one of it shows how his father wanted to teach him. The father figured that the children, not only my children, but other people, because it's self-family, not about other children, need to be taught what we know. So send him into the forest. Send him to the forest. Go to the forest. 12, 13 years, just go to the forest. And find a way back home. Send him for it. Find a way back home. And so now, how did he manage? He managed because he believed in a creator. So way back then, he believed in a creator. So it begs the question: did somebody come here, but did some people come here to teach us about our Creator? We knew about our Creator. So this thing about coming to Christianize the heathen is certainly divisive. It's not problem solving. So this book is very important, like the what no. You see, so now those of us, like you, myself, and others, and if you read some other commentary who won a bullet from University Liberia, they now bringing up information that we can use. You see, and this is the what to do. It's not by violence. Not by violence. Violence does not solve any problem. In fact, I remember telling Mr. Charles Still, I said, don't cost my mom. Cost my mom. It won't be easy again. Where's that? Yeah, because that's violent too. Cost my mom. Say all kinds of things. I'm going to rise up. I'm not, my background is not to sit down and you cost my mind and say, oh, that's fine. That's cost my mind. No.
Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about the political disposition of our country and the issues surrounding our recent history, which you have been, a scholar, have been following in some way. In the 70s and going to the 80s, you and others like you, like Historia and others, started to create new awareness amongst the people on how the condition of the people could improve. Civic actions here and there. We are in 2023. It seems the country has not changed.
Fundamentally, I use the word fundamentally in the sense that the country has a history of powers that be to be engaged in poverty generation. And that's why it provides some data about poverty. The reason why that is the number one problem in the country is because it's become a pretext for violence. We should took the form of Kujitan and say, well, over 300,000 persons died. Many more got injured. And based on the experience, and if you look into the publications of Afrobarometer, in fact, we just released a week ago, 2023 research result. And in 2020, the Liberian people said Liberia is moving in the wrong direction because of this experience. You cannot move in the right direction. You're killing yourself. It's the wrong direction. So the work we have to do now, we meaning people who love the country, who want to move from poverty generation to poverty alleviation, is to place Liberia in the right direction, which I've written about. Now, this in the right direction is based on awareness. I know if I talk to you rudely, you will understand my abuse your mother because it don't cost my mom. Great respect for mother. You will not move when I say move. You will not at all. So I have to learn, and the responsibility is upon us who have the information. And this is what we have to do. And you are quite correct. The situation is still the same fundamentally in the sense that we do not know about ourselves. In the school, for instance, the school system is westernized. It's not based on Liberian culture. Because what's Western culture is into slavery and profit maximum. We should talk about poverty generation. So, for instance, in order to see how the system is going to control in the interest of the few, look at 1822, the Battle of Fort Hill. It only person to record that battle is Yehuda Ashman. After whom Ashman should be Yehuda Ashman. What did he record? Did he record the Matilda Newport? No. There's no Matilda Newport mentioned there. But they said that she took her pipe and put it in a can. Over 2,000 Christians died. A woman. And they said 2,000 of the indigenous men died. It was a way of spreading control. Said a woman, look at a woman. A woman just said 2,000 persons couldn't defeat her. You see that? But now what do we have today?
Zach,
we have Matilda Newport.
Zach, excuse me. I think you will give us more context if you explain this disparity along with history in collaboration with the article that I read. You talk about collaborative forms of leadership that you are ascribing to indigenous structures, collaboration, and condemnation or something. You use two words in contrast.
Consultation, not condemnation.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. But I'm responding to your question because you asked the question. So, well, look, the things have not changed.
Yes.
Okay, I said things have not changed fundamentally. You see, because we still have poverty. That's fundamental. Fundamental is that well, for many of our people, they work on English, but it means that
the basics
children must not go to school. That's fundamental. Say, well, what the children wearing this and that, how they're walking. That's not superficial, but they should not go to school. Say people must not eat. Only few people should eat. That's
only few people should eat and eating lobster.
Yeah. So, for instance, now look at in the Temple of Justice. There was a statute that still that had written, "Let justice be done to all men." But it's changed now. It's this. Let justice be done to all. The men have been removed. How did it happen? From the work we did over the years. And we didn't do it by costing somebody out, shipping going so forth. And so, things have not changed because people are poor, but there's changed because of awareness. You see, but it's still not there. Even if we're coming to talk about the election coming up, it's still not there because the awareness has not reached that point. It's a process. It takes quite some time, but it's the only way to go.
To create awareness,
yeah, it's the only way to go.
Okay, so you chose you corrected me with the words in that article about collaborating.
Oh yeah, consultation.
Yeah, consultation,
not domination. You see, because the powers that be, they want to control. They want to control in their interest. Want to have access to money. I told you about what they have access to. Very poor foreign partners in the legislature. All right, so that's and so then you need to consult, and this is one of what we have found out to be the solution. So it's to raise awareness about you need to consult. Is that here you are, what you're doing now. You know more about it than I do. So I will have to ask questions. How is this done? In order for me to know, I'm not going to come and say, well, I have this all of you, I have such degrees, I want this. No, that's domination. You see, but that's the practice now by the powers that be. And so we have now, as we speak, children sitting on the ground, barefoot. In Monrovia, I'm not talking outside Monrovia. In Monrovia, children, when Liberia has over 200 of the best dog species in the world, why is the forest important? The forest is important because it's interprovince of when the forest breathes, forest does. It throws out oxygen. Oxygen. What does oxygen? Oxygen helps us to do the number one thing that our Creator got to save lives. It's because we have oxygen here. That's how we are living. If we didn't have oxygen, I won't mention it, but it's a very good friend of ours now. in the hospital, they have to get some machine to get oxygen because the person has problem breathing. All right, now so this is what the forest is throwing this also. We have access to it. So of course, then when to take in, what does the forest take in? Something called gas emission. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
And gas emission, that there are two countries that have almost 60% of the gas emission in the world. The People of China in the United States of America. Why do we have it? Because they want to industrialize. Our factories with all the gas emissions. See, now, so we are in a very good bargaining position. We're in a very good bargaining position.
Are we bargaining?
Yeah, this is it. That's what consultation. You here now, I haven't discussed this with you. You haven't discussed it with me before. But you sitting here now, I'm not a betting person. Why I will hypothesize. Hypothesize means is what am I going to say that is highly likely to happen? So it's highly likely that you have not been consulted, you have not been asked as to what should be done about the fact that our hospital, there are drugs available, but they're not in the hospital. You have not been asked by the powers that be. If I'm telling story, these are not Liberian English.
No, you're not.
I wrote something called Tell Truth, Not Tell Story. Yeah. So if I'm telling story, tell me I'm telling story.
No, you're not telling story.
You see, so that's the consultation. Oh, yeah, Mr. Gray, what do you think? You see, so this is the problem that you and I and others have to try. We must solve them. In fact, to the extent that we have a religious background, we said that it's sinful for us not to take responsibility to solve this problem. Like that. So it made it easy for me when you said, well, shouldn't we to have this discussion? I said, fine, because it's within my prioritization. It's within the things that are most important to do.
So thank you, Doc. So let's get to, maybe let's take a second and catch our breath, and then we'll get to the contemporary issue that's going on.
Give me 30 seconds to get this thing. But second, I know what
yeah, second.
Like we didn't talk.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, we'll be back in a second. And then we'll talk about the current elections, our prospects going into the future, and all that. Again, this is a special edition of Election Central, and I have with me Dr. Togba Nah Tipoteh. We'll join you in a second. Well, welcome again to our special edition Election Central. Again, we have with us Dr. Tipoteh. We've been discussing a wide range of issues of this work Liberia, its governing philosophy, and we're talking about many things. Now we want to come to something closer to today, talking about the current elections. If you know, in Liberia, we've had first round of elections, and we are looking up to our runoff election on Tuesday, November 14th. First, where I want to start at is that you made a public pronouncement when the date was named that, in fact, it was in error to name the 14th as the run-up date in keeping with the Constitution. Can we elaborate on that?
Yes. The Constitution of Liberia says in Article 83B, second sentence, that the second round of the October 10th, 2023 presidential election must be held on the second Tuesday after the announcement of the result of October 10th. The second Tuesday falls on November 7th.
So the election should have been set.
Should have been on 7th. Now it's going to be held on 14th. I wrote about this many days ago, but it has not been corrected. And I'm not surprised. The reason I'm not surprised, because the powers that be continue to be money driven and continue to be in the wrong direction as most Liberian people. But we have much more work to do because of the process. It will take time to change. So we'll continue to work on this.
Okay, now most people say that the elections of October 10th was free, fair, peaceful. Generally, most people say that.
I would say that not most people, because there's no evidence of it. But I know what you mean. There's Liberia talk.
Yeah.
You're talking Liberia talk.
Okay.
Is that what has been published and so forth? Yeah. And even the foreigners, they've written the script. You know, the script comes on in one sentence, says that, oh, there were irregularities, but not enough to change the result.
Yeah.
That's the script.
Yeah.
It's been the script now for so many elections.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I understand what you mean.
So I read that.
I will draw to say I'm correcting you because I understand what you mean. You're not deliberately saying something that you know is wrong.
So I analyzing the numbers. I share the information with you and also published it. There are some discrepancies that were noticed, and I'm asking this question to get your view when things like that happen. What should be done? So there are three categories of positions that were being contested: presidency, Senate, and the representative from the legislature, representative district level.
Yeah.
So you have the representative, district, the Senate, and the president. So if somebody comes to the polling place, he's given 3 ballots to vote in each of the 3 categories. I'm seeing that all things being
103. You had 15 senators.
correct,
15 senators. I mean, half of the Senate, and all of the
representatives.
representatives.
Yeah. So 73 representatives, 15 senators, and then the president, vice president on the same ballot. So I'm not talking about how people vote. I'm just looking at the ballots.
Yes.
So if 3 ballot papers were given to each voter to vote in the 3 categories, doing the tally to account for those 3 ballot papers, the elections commissions say that in each category they have valid votes and invalid votes. My thing is the total valid vote and total invalid vote, no matter how they pair, should be equal in all 3 categories. Because the 3 papers that were given each category. If you see the election results, there is 8,000 plus discrepancy between the ballot papers that were turned up for tabulated for president and that for Senate. Is it not concerning?
It is concerning, but the problem for us is that we want things to be done through the rule of law. So the problem for us remains what how we do it, what to do, because the people who perceive this to be in their interest are not going to be the ones to change it.
So also under the rule of law, there is no way to ask the elections commission to explain to us this discrepancy.
Well, within the rule of law, we have the right to tell them to explain it. Yeah? But within the rule of law, nobody is doing that. National religious, national political, national civil society, national government, national foreign partners, nobody is doing it.
And interestingly, that the difference we're talking about, 8,000, is almost equal to the difference in the outcome of the election result between the CDC and the Unity Party. It's about 7,500.
Yeah, well, because
about.
this is it. We have to work on it ourselves. And you pointed out according to the National Election Commission, it was reported that the Congress of Democratic Change (CDC) got 43.8% of the votes, and the Unity Party (UP) got 43.4%. Now, before the election was held, I predicted long ago that they were not going to be fair. What's my basis for saying that they're not going to be fair? Because the Election Commission has a bad record, a fraudulent record. Starting from 1927, when the Liberia entered the Guinness Book of Records. The Guinness Book of Records in 1927 election, when the National Election Commission report announced that there are 15,000 registered voters in Liberia, but 243,000 persons voted.
Oh, and there were only 15,000. That was the Charles D.B. King election.
Well, I didn't want to call it that name, but you're correct. And then, of course, later on, in the 70s, when there was the law indicated, the Constitution law indicated that you had to own property to vote. So then the number was lower. 12,000 announced by the election committee, 12,000. But you know how many persons were announced by the next vote? 863,000. So they based on this bad record, what do you predict? The sensible thing to predict is that the election is not going to be fair.
But there has been no accountability for all these.
The election is not going to be fair. There's been no accountability because the powers that we don't want to account. Look at the disappearances. Look at the deaths. The fight on the day of August 5th, 2023, when the date that the election were legally open. The ruling party had their partisans parading the streets of Monrovia with a mock casket of the UP
Vice President Monga.
the UP presidential candidate. A mock parading the streets of Monrovia.
So what do you take from that? I mean,
Well,
I think it's probably symbolic.
I think from that nothing has changed in the right direction fundamentally. Back to answering your question again. That means if nothing changed in the right direction fundamentally, that means that the system is not fair. The electoral system is not fair. And so we should expect that the results will not be fair. Will not be, they use all kinds of words to make us think that it's noble, fair, transparent, democratic. But the key word is fair. If something is fair, then all the other things are in it.
Fit together.
Yeah, all of it. So it's not fair. And so this is where we are. And on Tuesday, it's highly likely to be not fair. But so what's the work for us is to raise awareness so that it will improve the process. And eventually we'll get to the point where will be able to have the election commission changed to have fair people on it, just like we got the temple justice, we got the let justice be done to all men, now let justice be done to all. So the process, look at the process in which those things, that was changed. It's the same process that has to be done. And so I'm in a very good position at 82, going 83 years of age, and you're much younger than that. And then you say,
you look healthier than me.
If I doing, I'm not tired. Then why should Mr. Gray be tired? You see, so that's we have to continue. That's what I'm flexible.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
We are this year. But want to take another 2 hours?
No, we'll come back. We'll come back some other time. But I wanted to touch on something that we talked about a little briefly this morning. I was trying to get your views on it. Liberian electorate is not mature, and they make this assertion based on the way people vote. For example, people are accused of corruption, stealing, and they voted into office. I mean, you have officials who were just sanctioned. The two, Senator McGill and the put the Clegg case, public information of impropriety, and they won overwhelmingly in the areas that they contested.
Good question. Good question. The voters in Liberia are not well informed because people like you this stuff who have information have to work harder to get information. That's one. Second point is that the election commission has a bad record for commit fraud onto them. So that is. Thirdly, the powers that be are money driven. So those are realities. They're there that the facts to back them. That's how they act.
So should we not restrict the franchise?
Huh?
You were mentioning before that one of the achievements of advocacy was the removal of the requirement to have property. My question is, if having property, a stakeholder, will make people more responsible in making decisions, don't you think it's a good idea?
Well, the thing is that it's a context. You should put the word context before. The context here is that the few want to control the more, and they use that as a technique of control. So all those things for control need to be removed. But so we keep that context in. But we bear in mind that we have a problem to solve. A problem to solve, and then you are part of trying to solve the problem, to bring out the data, publishing about what happened in elections in valuables, particularly the totality of the vote. And so we have here the unfair electoral system. So what we said it was going around, not we said it was going around in terms of looking at what we got from people who know, people we read about, and what we read about, and what we learn by talking, is that the American Liberals had the time. Now it's time for the country people. Look in the national legislature. 96% of the members of the national have village background. Background. Right. What is the result coming? It's sin. What is that sin? Poverty generation. So the problem is not. That's why the tribute I made about Councilor Henry Cooper, he passed away recently. And we were friends for 70 years. Got published by Front Page Africa for 25 days. Why was it published? Because the people demanded it. You see. And what's the main point in the country? But the main thing we should work on is good and bad. So our task, people who love Liberia want to see Liberia become better. Our task is to see this thing corrected, like you mentioned here. This thing corrected, number 4 is to be able to get the good people together. And this is what we're hoping. And that's the main reason why I agreed to be with you today. It's we have the responsibility of duty to raise awareness, to provide information, because it's not to provide information that people be motivated to do the right thing. This is what we have. We must not get tired. Bishop Kula, he just turned October 5th, he just turned 90 years of age. 90 years of age.
And he's writing a book.
He's writing a book, and he walks with a cane.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not in a wheelchair. You know, some of us with 68, 69 in wheelchair. So forth. And then,
good, Doc. I know we agreed that you have engagement at 12. So I want us to.
Excuse the expression. Let's put on yourself.
Okay.
You have to go. I'm flexible.
Okay.
So we're talking really, but most importantly, truthfully.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I gotta go to Copa, but
I'm flexible. And we will be continuing.
Yes, that's why I wanted to say where I really appreciate that we had this. We're not through yet. I wanted us to go back to something about you that most people do not know. That in fact, you sing top level, not just singing in the bathroom. And you were a tennis champion of Liberia for several years. 30 years. 30 years champion, retired undefeated. A complete rounded person. I'm happy to have you here. So as we wrap up this,
let me say, I will do a brief version of a song. I wrote the song in Pele language. KPELA.
Let me know when you're ready.
Why is it in that? Because it's the most widely spoken language. And we have to have different ways of communicating. That's why I wrote it. So I'm ready when you're ready.
Sure, it's all yours.
And let me tell you what the song says. Again, to say the word. The song says, come. Listen to how our Creator works. When you see our Creator works, and it always speaks, because it's always just. This is not the absence of violence, but peace is the presence of justice.
Yeah. Like, thank you very much. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, that was a short rendition from but I've never heard you sing. I've always heard it, and I'm excited about it. I will. Whenever you sing into the church, let me know so I can come to church.
I'll be singing on our very good friend, big brother, birthday, James Dennis. He'll be 95. That is 95 on November 30th. November 30th is before Sunday.
Sunday before.
So the Sunday right after November 30th, that will be interesting. He wants to sing a song that was sung made famous by Frank Sinatra, "My Way."
That's the 26th. I'll be there. I said
No, the Sunday after.
The Sunday after,
yeah.
So it'll be in December.
Yeah. The Sunday after. Because, he's I think Wednesday or Thursday is the November
30th.
November 30th. So the next Sunday, what is it? So 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, November 30th is Thursday, right?
Yeah,
and the Sunday is December 3rd.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay. But thanks a lot. Thanks. I'll tell you what. Could you give us a parting statement about whatever you may want to share?
Well, I think the parting statement is that we have a duty, we have an opportunity to help to solve the problem of poverty, because poverty has become the pretext for violence. And we are not for violence. You and I and most Liberian people I know are not violent. The reason why not violent because we Liberian people have registered, statistically registered through Afrobarometer that we want peace, no more war. War is the wrong direction. We want peace. So let's pursue justice and peace.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you very much. So this is our in our special section. We will keep running these sections for the likes of Dr. Tipoteh and others. My name is Cyrus Gray. Thanks for joining us on the Elections Central. Doc? Thank you. Thank you.
Isa iba
Ah.
Isa iba ma.
Yeah, thank you, Doc.
Isa iba ma.
Thank you.